We're on the move again, this time to Gingerman Raceway in Michigan for the next round of the GRIDLIFE series. If you're following along, this is the second of 5 rounds we're going to be participating in throughout the United States, and we're using these events to test and torture our Honda-swapped Ferrari known as the 244GTK. Our first order of business after landing in Kalamazoo, Michigan was of course to secure a rental car and make our way over to the racetrack. I want to get our badging and credentials secured and out of the way before the big day tomorrow.
Slow down,
this isn't working.
Slow down. What's the issue with this car, Mike?
Well, the brakes thunk really bad if you hit them. Oh, it does this kind of like, I don't know if they can feel that on camera, but
you probably. Oh, jeez. It's I hate that. Feels like something's broken and should get fixed.
Otherwise, it's good so far for all 600 feet that we've driven it. Of course, I was too busy messing with the brakes to figure out how to get out of the airport parking lot. Oh, wait.
Oh, that's the. Those were gated. Yeah, go up that way.
Can you get clunks going backwards?
Yeah, probably.
Not as bad. It's better.
That's very backwards. Alright, jeez.
Where am I supposed to go? I can't see that. Eventually, with our talents combined, we made it out of the airport and then began the hour-long drive over to South Haven, Michigan. It's there that we find Gingerman Raceway, the 2.14-mile, 11-turn road course that'll be home to this weekend's activities. And if somehow you're unfamiliar with what GRIDLIFE even is, well, it is a motorsports event for everyone. From time attack racing to drifting to wheel-to-wheel racing and massive music events that range from hip-hop to EDM that everyone is sure to enjoy. These events are massive, and if you haven't been to one, I highly suggest it because if you're into motorsports whatsoever, there's something here for you, and Gingerman Raceway happens to be the biggest one of the year. So we just got our stickers for the car. We are officially registered. I got my wristbands. We are changing, watch behind you. We are changing from unlimited down to track mod because, as kind of said last time, my car's not an unlimited class car. It is not built to be as fast as those cars are. We don't have that kind of aero, we don't have that kind of power, and we don't have those tires. They're on slicks and all that kind of stuff. So track mod is much more where the car should be. We should be at least a little bit more competitive, assuming the car is happy this weekend and I'm feeling comfortable. I've been doing laps in the sim. I'm eager for it. We've got everything we need. We just got to be back here bright and early for them to unlock that Falcon trailer and unload the car. So we made our way back to the hotel to meet up with Justin, who flew in from Colorado, only to then find out the Falcon team was willing to unload our car that evening. So back to the track we went.
Continue on Phoenix Street.
As everybody knows, the fastest car in the world is a rental car, so we got back to Gingerman in a hurry. Once there, we ran into friends, met up with the Falcon team, and then got the car unloaded. If we were professionals, the car would be ready to go. We'd unload it from the trailer, clean it up, and park it until tomorrow morning, but professionals, we are not. I wouldn't even call us a race team, so getting the car out tonight gives us the chance to give it a once-over and to fix any issues we encounter before the big day. Welcome to Gingerman Raceway.
Gingerman.
To Gingerman Raceway. It's not my racetrack, because I'm not ginger. Although a lot of you people think that I am. In total honesty, it's still a surreal feeling to see my car come out of this Falcon big rig each and every time. It feels like it should be reserved for the best of the best, true professionals, not guys working out of a garage like me, but regardless, here we are chasing a dream, and I'm stoked that you guys are here watching along. When the 244's been sitting, oil tends to collect in the oil sump tank for the turbo, and so it spits some out all over the back of the car on occasion. Our first order of business is to get it cleaned up and get the car looking spotless for the debut tomorrow. The Gion Quick Detailer does a great job of restoring that satin black finish to the vinyl, despite the fact that we've coated the back end of the car in oil, although once we get this thing back to the shop in California, I think we should give it a ceramic coating. While Blake gave things a scrub down, Justin spent some time reattaching all of the aero, which had to be removed last time we transported the car. The quick disconnects we designed for this thing episodes ago work really well, and the splitter comes off easily, but the support cables we realized we needed in Australia are a bit more work to remove. Last but not least for the evening, I wanted to confirm that our radio comm system was up and working. Although we checked it in one of the previous episodes when we installed it, we did some rewiring to the steering wheel and, well, we encountered a problem. Blake could hear me, but I had no control over any system in the car. Even pressing buttons on the radio head unit was doing nothing. I know I don't need to say it, but this is not what we wanted to find out just one day before the event began, and although we don't need this radio unit, it would be really nice to have to communicate with Justin back in the pit. Especially considering we're still going through a lot of teething pains with a car that is a complete custom build. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to make my intercom system function correctly. So right before we left, I had Ryan at rewire the back of our steering wheel because it started coming apart at the last event. He did a beautiful job, and we kind of made some assumptions about how some of the race radio's wiring works. And it seems like we got half of it right and half of it wrong. Basically, at the moment, it's wired in such a way it thinks I'm just constantly holding the transmit button. So radio can hear me, but I can't hear them. They can't interrupt my transmission. So just got to figure out how to make the button function instead of be permanently on, and we'll be set. So, as the sun set, we dove in an attempt to solve the problem. Somewhere within the wiring, the computer believes that the push-to-talk button is being held down. That means my microphone is transmitting, and once its transmission begins, nothing is able to interrupt it. It means there's one-way communication from my headset to Justin on the side of the track, but he's unable to communicate with me, and while that might sound somewhat helpful, I'd rather have it be the other way if I had a choice. So we busted out a voltmeter and began checking continuity amongst everything that we could. My assumption is that somewhere there's a ground that shouldn't be grounded, or a wire is powered when it shouldn't be. We know the system works as we've tested it in the past. This has to be within the steering wheel wiring as we added a push-to-talk button that wasn't there before. So that's where I focused, the connection between the wiring harness and the steering wheel itself, and that's where the problem proved to be.
Does the shifter work? We did it, boys! Woo! Burger time! Talk to me, Mike.
Alright, after a little reconfiguring, our button works. Everything works. I wish that I could fully explain why it wasn't working, because I understand 12-volt wiring systems pretty well. Trying to articulate what I just did, other than saying I swapped 2 wires around, that's as far as I'm going to go, because I'm tired and my brain's not fully working. It's working enough to get the job done, but not to explain why it didn't work. We'll try it tomorrow. But everything's working. I think we're good. I just did a full comms check. We're set. I'm excited to actually put it to use tomorrow for the first time. And so, after a few hours of sleep, we were up bright and early the next morning for a day of racing. There were a few small to-do items on our list for the 244 GTK to have it ready for its first session, but nothing alarming or stressful. We were all in good spirits for the day to come. I've been told that Gingerman Raceway is a really fun track to drive, and my time spent on Assetto Corsa practicing it led me to believe that that was going to be true, but I'll go in and spoil it right now. This track is awesome. I see why it's a staple on the GRIDLIFE calendar, and I'm already eager to come back next year because, spoiler alert, this weekend didn't go as well as it could have. I'm proud of the car, but again, it hasn't been without its teething pains. I think a lot of people mistake what this series is really meant to be about. This event at Gingerman Raceway represents the 4th time I've really been behind the wheel of this car. And technically speaking, it's the 7th if you want to count our initial shakedown, 1/2 test day, and a video day with Falcon at Chuckwalla. I'm new to it, and it's new to the track, and we've got a lot of work to do before it's really ready to be turning lap after lap in anger, and I've got a lot of confidence to build behind the wheel until I'm ready to put down lap times that this car is actually capable of. Each one of these events marks a milestone in progress for the car and for me as a driver. But with that said, I'm still here to push my talents to the limit And to do that, we've got to pass tech inspection. In total, we were missing one cotter pin, and they did point out that we do have some wires that are seeing some stress, and I'm going to try to fix those once we get home, but for now, they're going to be just fine. I signed off on the car, and off we were back to the paddock to get everything else in order. There was a short list of things that the car needed before its prime time. First up, it's graphics. Some of you, if you're really observant, might notice that our door placards are smaller this time around. We custom designed them so they'd fit on the tiny body lines of the 308 without having to span the big gap of the door NACA duct, but that required moving some of our sponsors around so everything looked right. At the back of the car, Justin was tackling an install on our Dime PSI AN wastegate lines. I don't want these coming off this time around, and Dime was kind enough to get these finished up just before we boarded our flight to head to Michigan, and we brought them as a carry-on. While Justin was knocking that out, I had to attend the driver's meeting. It's a requirement for anyone that's going to be out on track, and while once you've been to one, you've been to them all, it's important to attend and do our part as drivers to make sure everybody's going to be safe. One thing that GRIDLIFE does have that's rather unique for time attack classing is a pace car. So, after a refresher on the rules of how that works, I'm ready to get out on track, and it's back over to the paddock for our final checklist. Because we haven't run at Gingerman before, and we've only run one GRIDLIFE event prior, the organizers have queued us at the back of Run Group 3. With any luck, I should quickly outpace most of the cars in this group and be running out front. Or maybe I'll even get us up into Run Group 2, but that might be ambitious for day number 1. With that said, session number 1 was off to a great start. I felt comfortable out on track, and thanks to time spent in the sim, I knew which direction to go, so it was just a matter of getting temp into the tires and getting comfortable behind the wheel.
Very deep.
On my second full lap, I did a 1:45, which, honestly, I'm reasonably happy with. It's not a fast lap, but it's not terrible either, and I think it represents at least a fundamental understanding of where the track is going, and now it's all about building the foundations of actually driving the car and this course quickly. You guys will see that traffic on track is going to be a major part of every lap that I actually completed, and that's a bit of a bummer, but it's also just part of being queued in the run group I was in. It's nobody's fault, but it makes it hard to really stretch this car's legs. With that said, here's my fastest of my first laps in the first session, a 1:43, which I can say I'm pretty happy with given I've never been here before.
Thoughts so far? He looks real good. He looks real strong. Oh, that's huge progress. He's looking really good. No problems. What do you got? You coming in? 10-4.
It may just be the gods of speed playing a cruel joke, but I think Justin may have jinxed things because as soon as he said there's no problems, I dropped a cylinder. And after running on 3 for a bit of the back straight, I knew I had to come in. So, 3 laps completed in the first session. Not great, not terrible, but there's more on the table for us. A 143.1 isn't bad, and as you guys saw, that was with a lot of traffic on track, and there's a ton of room for improvement. This car is easily capable of mid-130s if I can find the comfort, if I can find the space, and if I can get temp into these Falcon RT660 Pluses. Well, that, and of course, I've got to figure out why my car is running on 3 cylinders instead of the 4 it's supposed to.
Yeah, so probably what happened is it detected I'm guessing one of those coils is shorted intermittently inside because they're hot as, I bet you they're shorting inside and it's just killing that circuit to protect it and then the key cycle turns it back on. Do we have spare coils?
I think so, I hope so. All right, so in the last session, last lap that I was out there for, coming into the next to last turn, got on the brakes really hard, and then when I got back on the throttle, I had no power, and it felt maybe kind of like an ignition problem versus not having boost pressure. It just stumbled and didn't really want to accelerate. So I came in, checked the DTCs on the computer, and I don't see anything. I'm gonna have Andrew look at the data, make sure that there's nothing kind of glaring its, rearing its head or whatever. It looked like cylinder 3 had lower EGTs, so that might reveal something. I cycled the power for the car, and it seemed like it fixed it, so I'm not too worried. I know we turned some fail-safes off last time we were at the track to make sure we could run our last session. We didn't turn them back on, so it might be just trying to prevent me from hurting the engine. While it's out, we're gonna put new coils in it. We've got some new Haltech ones to install. We're checking the stalks while we're at it. One of these springs is kind of messed up and bent, so I don't think that's our issue, but it could be. We're gonna straighten it out, literally and figuratively, put it back together, check a few other things. We got like 4 hours before we go out again, so we'll give the car a once-over. But the car felt really good otherwise. I felt fast. I was in traffic the whole time, just kind of chilling behind cars, wanting to just get out there and let loose. So hopefully next session have a little bit less traffic and get to stretch the car's legs a bit more. Given that after I cycled the power to the standalone system, the car ran fine on all 4 cylinders, I was confident that we were dealing with something that was electronic in nature. Normally, at this point, I'd call up Andrew Molina, my tuner, but it's only 6:30 in the morning back on the West Coast, so he's not answering yet. But the team over at the Haltech booth, and Josh in particular, were willing to walk through the problems and see if they could identify what the issue is. In the meantime, though, it's simply a waiting game. We did everything we could, gave the car a once-over, tightened any loose bolts, and in hopes that this was just a coil pack issue, we put 4 new Haltech coil packs and new spark plugs in the car. Josh was poring over the logs to see if anything stuck out in terms of other things to fix, but at this point, it was back to waiting around for our next session. Confident that having new spark plugs and coil packs would fix the issue, we fired the 244 GTK back up and it was running as good as ever. This time we were closer to the front of run group 3, so we made our way over to the hot pit and got ready for session number 2. Things were off to a really solid start. On my first flyer, we went out and did a 142.2, a considerable, almost second and a half improvement over our fastest lap of the previous session. That's without any real heat in the tires, and I'm still getting comfortable, so I'd say we're making good improvements. I'll be honest, I get nervous around other cars, and I don't feel a need to be swapping paint with anyone's bumper, nor do I want to make any passes that I'm not confident the driver in front of me is prepared for, so even at this point, I'm slowing down based on traffic. Lap number 2, a 141.68. There's a ton of time everywhere on this track for me to take, but even on turns 5 and 6 alone, I was coasting and not giving nearly enough throttle, and heading into turn 10, there's a lot of speed too, so I'm confident this car has a ton of time left in it.
Looks real good, no problems, you got no traffic behind you. We're doing it, boys. We're finally doing it.
Every successive lap was getting faster and faster, and I was on pace for a 139 this time around, but halfway through lap number 3, I lost 2 cylinders, and I had to throw it away and come in once again.
Copy. You want to just meet back at the pit?
In the moment, it feels like heartbreak. All I want to do is turn laps in a car I've worked so hard on for so long, but then I remind myself this is what racing is, especially when you've built a car from the ground up and you want to go out and do something meaningful with it. Instead of being upset that it's broken, it's time to knuckle down and figure out exactly what the problem is so we can turn some more laps and go faster than ever. I called upon my friends at Haltech and the hunt began. Let's figure out what's wrong with this car. Car felt even better. Feels really good. Still stuck in traffic, really. The main issue right now is just finding some space so I can start leaning on the car and getting more and more comfortable. Learning the track, some time in the sim helped, but I need some track in front of me to actually start feeling it out. And on the lap where I finally got around one of the other cars, we had the same ignition problem. So I gotta figure out what's going on. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It's probably something really stupid, but we're gonna chug our plugs, and Haltech's checking the logs for us right now, see if they can figure anything out, and we'll see what we find. This is, of course, where I wish my understanding of tuning and data were a little bit better, because I might have been able to identify this problem sooner, but thankfully Josh at Haltech, after poring over it, solved the mystery. The answer, thankfully, is rather simple. So the beauty of having this Haltech Nexus R5 is that it collects all the data that we ask it to. I just handed that data off to the guys at Haltech because they're here, and they've looked at everything and they think they figured out exactly what the issue is, and I'm going to do my best to explain it. Essentially, our cam solenoid, the VTEC solenoid, every kind of third time it's supposed to be doing something, it's not. And that's kind of creating some fueling issues, and that's making our EGTs get hotter than expected. The ECU is seeing that, and when they get too hot, it's killing those cylinders, and that's why we've seen the EGTs then plummet, and then we're running on 2 or 3 cylinders, and I come in. It's also why when I cycle the ignition, it comes back to life because it's happy again. So, they've added some duty cycle to that cam controller. See if it gets happier. We might have to try replacing it. And then on top of that, they've added some kind of fueling correction to control the EGTs once they get really high. So if they get high again, it's going to throw some extra fuel in there, try to keep those cylinders cooler so that it doesn't shut them down. But ultimately, it's a good understanding of why it's doing this. The ECU is telling those cylinders to turn off. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how to control it. And I think if we fix that cam solenoid, we won't see this issue anymore because the EGTs just shouldn't get hot like that. So we're gonna try this duty cycle update, see if it fixes it. We got one more session today. We're gonna go back out. If it doesn't, we'll see if we can track down a new solenoid tonight, replace it, and we should be good to go tomorrow. Fingers crossed. In our final once-over before sending the car back out, we noticed that one of our EGT sensors had loosened up. And what's important with these thermocouples is that the depth of the probe be properly placed in the path of the exhaust inside the turbo manifold. That's something we spent a little bit of time dialing in. But while Justin was getting everything tightened up, he noticed one problem. If you watched our last GRIDLIFE event, you'll remember the coupler that goes from manifold to turbo that cracked, the one that we just made a new support for to try to prevent from cracking again. Well, unfortunately, my support idea didn't solve the issue. This time, the turbo hadn't broken completely off, but that coupler still had a crack in it. It could be only a matter of time before it completely let go, and with the crack, we're going to be suffering from a loss of boost pressure and who knows what else. The problem is that 18 gauge stainless just isn't fit for the job I'm asking it to do, and I've got to solve this ASAP. Yeah, it'd be nice to completely change the solution, but for now, I've got to find a welder. It's something we don't have with us, and I spent the next hour calling everywhere throughout South Haven, Michigan and the surrounding areas, just trying to find anybody who could put this thing back together and get us back out on track. Just like in South Carolina, without this part, we are dead in the water. So you'll have to tune in next week as we pull out all the stops to get the 244 GTK back out on track.